What's going on, guys? Norms Forum coming at you guys here with another video. We got the aftermath coming right now. Week 7, Detroit Lions versus Minnesota Vikings going up to Minnesota. Lions win this game 31-29. Lions at 5-1. Minnesota Vikings at 5-1. Vikings getting their first loss on the season, and we getting our first division win. Sole possession of first place for the Detroit Lions. What a game! A black and blue division type ball game. Lions win in the thriller. Jake Bates with the big kick at the end of the game. You know, some time left on the clock, and we end up winning this one in a really good heart attack game. Injuries in game, inactive, stuff like that. Lions had a couple guys hurt. Same with the Minnesota Vikings. Running back David Montgomery did hurt himself in the first quarter. Had a knee injury. It looked really, really bad at first. Man, he could barely even walk off the field. He was getting helped off by the trainers. Couldn't put any pressure or any type of anything on his foot. So it looked like when I first saw it, I was like, that's either a knee, that's either an ankle. Wasn't too sure. I thought he was done. I think a lot of fans did. I think he was done for at least that game. And all of a sudden he came back into the ball game, and you could tell that he was kind of banged up. He missed a couple assignments. He missed a block. I believe it was on a sack. I don't remember who sacked Goff, but he missed the assignment. He couldn't get to the defender coming in on time. He had a false start. You could tell that knee was really bothering him. But, you know, Jahmyr Gibbs, baby, he took over. And then offensive guard Kevin Zeitler, he never played. He was inactive with that groin injury. Coyote Awosika came in and had a very bad game. A couple false starts, holding. He had 3 or 4 penalties, but played much better in the second half of that ball game. And then the Vikings didn't have really any guys that got hurt in game. But they were missing guys like linebacker Blake Cashman, who's a really good run stopper. He had a toe, so he was inactive for that game. But let's get down to the stats. We do the Lions first because they are the road team. We do the road team all the time over here. So let's get to it. Quarterback Jared Goff was a surgeon. Again, 22 for 25, 88% completion percentage. 2 fumbles. He did have 2 fumbles. He recorded one himself. 0 loss, but he did have 2 fumbles. 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's sacked 4 times with 140 quarterback rating. He was fantastic again. We're almost talking about, well, we should be talking about Jared Goff as the MVP right now. He should be the front runner, which is something that I thought I would never say, but I'm glad we are. Rushing the ball, running back Jahmyr Gibbs was 15 for 116 yards, 7.7 yards a carry. He was excellent for the Lions, 2 touchdowns as well. Montgomery was 9 for 31. He did lose a big fumble, at the end of that football game. 3.4 yards a carry. We were 144 yards as a whole unit rushing the ball. The receiving, wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown was awesome. 8 catches for 112 yards and a touchdown on 14 yards a catch, 8 targets. Running back Jahmyr Gibbs was 4 catches for 44 yards. 11 yards a catch, 4 targets. Wide receiver Khalif Raymond was 3 for 39 and a touchdown, 13 yards per catch, 4 targets. Running back David Montgomery was 3 for 39 as well, 13 yards a catch, 4 targets. Tight end Sam Laporta, 1 catch for 25 yards, 25 yards a catch, obviously on 2 targets. Just not using Laporta right now, just not getting the ball to him. And I'm not sure if that's by scheme or they're just really covering him up, man. It could be a little bit of both at the moment. We'll see. And Tim Patrick, the wide receiver Tim Patrick, was 2 catches for 25 yards, 12.5 yards a catch, couple targets. Wide receiver J-Mo, he was 1 catch for -4 yards, -4 yards a catch, obviously. Only 1 target. That's another guy that just wasn't used yesterday, but, he's a guy that yesterday you didn't see him pouting or sulking. Sometimes he'll do that every now and then, but yesterday he was blocking downfield. He's throwing his body around, throws his body around like he's 250 and he's only like 190 pounds. So you love to see that with J-Mo, even though he's not getting the rock, that he's doing other things, in order for this team to be successful. And that's what you want to see. I love not seeing the pouting because that's what you always kind of worry about. But they didn't get him involved. Again, I don't know if that was Brian Flores scheming to specifically stop him, but they did a really good job on stopping him. And Amon-Ra St. Brown came through. The running game came through with Gibbs. So, and that's all that matters. Got the W. Defensively, linebacker Alex Anzalone had 8 tackles and a tackle for loss. Free safety Kirby Joseph had 7 tackles. Linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez, who's been playing really well, by the way, lately. 7 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 quarterback hit, and another sack, man. So I think it's back-to-back games with a sack, or 2 sacks in 3 games. I mean, he's been playing well. He's been playing really well, Malcolm Rodriguez. Linebacker Jack Campbell, 7 tackles, quarterback hit, tackle for loss. He did have a sack as well, I believe, at the end. Linebacker Trevor Nowoski, who's been playing good football for us, man. An undrafted free agent kid. 5 tackles, tackle for loss, a hit on the quarterback, and 1 sack as well. Defensive end Josh Pascal had 4 tackles, tackle for loss, a quarterback hit, and a sack. Good to see him getting in there on the sack totals. And then strong safety Brian Branch, 4 tackles, 2 pass deflects, an absolute beautiful interception. He's just a ball hawk, man. He's a playmaker. He actually punched the ball out too at one point where it looked really close to being a turnover for the Detroit Lions. I forget who returned it. I forget who it was that returned it, man, but it looked really, really close. I believe it was yesterday. Yeah, I think it was. It was just a great play, but the guy was out of bounds. But it was a close call. It was a very close call. And nose tackle, DJ Reader, 2 tackles. He had a quarterback hit as well. And then Jake Bates, man. He was 1 for 1 in the field goal, the only one that mattered. 44 long, game winner. He was 4 for 4 in the extra point, too. 19 seconds left in that game, too, and he booted it through the uprights. Could have hit it from 50 plus. And then Jack Fox really had a nice game. He averaged over 50. He averaged about 54.8, 55 yards a punt. It was much needed game. He absolutely has a howitzer for a leg. Same with Jake Bates. And then the Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold was 22 for 27. Basically, that's about 80 something percent, 86, 85%. If my math is correct, I could be wrong because I think Goff was 88. He was 22 for 25. So I'll say 22 for 27, 86, 85%. Get the math guys come after me on that one. 259 yards, a touchdown. He did throw 1 pick to Branch, sacked 4 times as well. Didn't have a bad game. I think he had a bad game. It was okay. He didn't lose or win the game for them. Obviously, didn't win him, but he didn't lose it for him either. Then running back Aaron Jones, man, he's a little bit banged up. Came in 14 carries for 93 yards. Got a touchdown, 6.6 yards. A rush. He looked really good out there. And Sam Darnold had four carries for 39 yards. He's a very athletic quarterback, 9.8 yards. He had 139 rushing on the ground as a whole team. Minnesota Vikings. So their rushing did their job. Aaron Jones is one of the best running backs in the NFL when he's healthy. He's a very, very productive running back. And then receiving, wide receiver Justin Jefferson, 7 catches for 81 yards. He did have a touchdown, 11.6 yards a catch, 8 targets, almost caught everything. Wide receiver Jalen Naylor, 4 catches, 76 yards, 19 yards a catch, 5 targets. Wide receiver Jordan Addison, 3 for 66, 22 yards a catch, 4 targets. Running back Aaron Jones had 3 catches, 23 yards, and 7.7 yards a catch on 3 targets as well. So they did their job through the air, did their job on the ground. Offensively, they did a very good job. They did. For what we were missing, missing, I think, the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year, missing a linebacker in Barnes, missing, our other starting a defensive end in Davenport. We're missing a few guys. And they did a good job. It's a good football team, Minnesota. They are. They are a very good football team. It came down to the wire. Now, defense, a couple of guys I was worried about came through with that team. Ivan Pace Jr. is a guy, undrafted, 10 tackles, tackle for loss, a quarterback hit. He had a sack. He had a touchdown, fumble recovery. That was the big one that Montgomery popped out at the end of that game. I don't even remember who. I think it was Andrew Van Ginkel might have smacked that ball out. I'm not 100% sure on that one. I don't really remember. It could have been Metellus. I forget. But safety Josh Metellus had 8 tackles, 2 quarterback hits, and a forced fumble. Could have been him. Linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel was a guy that I was worried about. 7 tackles, 3 for loss, a couple quarterback hits, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. Safety Harrison Smith, 7 tackles. Safety Cameron Bynum, 5 tackles. Outside linebacker Jonathan Grenard, 4 tackles, tackle for loss, quarterback hit, a sack, and a forced fumble. He gave fits to Taylor Decker, I think, all day. Not all day, but a couple ones where it was really close to getting 2 or 3 sacks. So he was giving fits to him a little bit, but I don't think Decker did that bad of a job. He'll probably get a bad PFF grade. But that's a really good outside linebacker. He's got a lot of good moves, man. He's explosive off the ball. The defensive end, Jonathan Ballard, 4 tackles, tackle for loss, 2 pass deflections. Defensive tackle, Jerry Tillery, 4 tackles, quarterback hit. And then Harrison Phillips had 4 tackles as well. But yeah, man, they had they had some sacks. They had 4 sacks on Goff. With Grenard getting 1, Van Ginkel with 2, Pace Jr. with 1 as well. So that's a good defense. That Brian Flores defense, though, I think what was the stat that I heard on Good Morning Football today? It was there's been 4 teams in the last couple of years that have put 30 points on. No, 4 times that Brian Flores' defense has given up 30-plus points. 3 of those times were by the Detroit Lions. So we kind of got his number, man. And I predicted 30 points on this game. I said 31 to 27 in this football game. It was 31-29. Great football game to watch. Then their kicker, Will Richard. I think that's how you say his last name. I'm pretty sure it might not be, though. He was 3 for 3 on field goals. He did hit a 57 long as well and a couple extra points. And I guess Kevin O'Connell, the Minnesota Vikings head coach, came out and said that they were going to probably have him attempt a 70-yarder, but they ended up getting a penalty in that football game, so they couldn't do it. But he does have a big leg. He hit that 57. He hit that 57-yarder. It was good from 60-something yards easy. So it's a big leg, kid from Alabama. Team stats. Now, if you can go look at these team stats, guys, do yourself a favor and do it. It's extremely eerily similar. So team stats. We'll go Lions first. First down, 19. Third down, 4 for 10. Fourth down, we were 0 for 1 on a very bad decision on Dan Campbell. It was a terrible decision. We'll talk about it. Rush, 144. Passing, 247. Total yards, 391 yards. Sacked, we had 4 sacks for 15 yards in yards lost. We threw 0 INTs. We punted the ball 4 times for 54.8 yards on average. We had 8 penalties for 49 yards, and we had 3 fumbles, but 1 fumble lost. And then the Vikings, eerily similar. First downs, 16. Third down, 4 for 10. Exactly the same. Fourth down, they didn't go for it once. Rushing the ball, 139 to our 144. Passing, 244s to our 247. Total yards, 383 to 391 for us. Sacks, they had 4 sacks as well for 33 yards. Interceptions thrown, Darnold did throw 1, Goff threw none. Punts, they had 3 punts for 48.3 yards, very similar to us. Penalties, exactly the same, 8 penalties. They had 59 yards of penalties. We had 49. Fumbles lost, they had 0 and 0. Fumbles and fumbles lost. So, a similar game. There's a good chance that we meet these guys again. But let's talk about the football game. I think offensively, we were fantastic. Goff was great again. He was great once again, completing 80-something% of his passes in the last, I think it's 3 or 4 times that he's in a row. There's been really no quarterback that's ever done it. I think I was talking to my buddy of mine. He told me the last guy to do something similar, I think it was Roger Staubach or something like that. Maybe Warner came close as well. No one's done this. Goff is lighting up the sky right now. The confidence level that this offense is on another planet. It's in a whole other stratosphere. They're running the ball well. What do? Montgomery gets banged up. Gibbs comes in, doesn't miss a beat. J-Mo doesn't get involved. Amon-Ra just takes over. Kevin Zeitler goes down. Awosika comes in, struggles, but plays really well in the second half. It was one of those games where we were down quick, man, in this game. The first quarter of this football game looked horrific for the Lions. I never lost faith. I know I've talked to a few buddies too. They were like, it's the Baltimore Ravens game all over again. Getting Texas during the game. I wasn't really responding. I was like, nah. I was like, not yet. I can't see it. It did look grim. It did look pretty bad. It did look pretty bad for a long time, for the first quarter. It was like, man, they got to get going. But you could tell it wasn't kind of like the Baltimore game. The Baltimore game, it just seemed like complete and utter domination from the start. This game didn't look good. Don't get me wrong. This first quarter, I was a bit worried, but I wasn't sitting there going, "Nah, the Lions are going to snap. The Lions are going to snap out of this." You can tell they're going to snap out of it, and they did. They snapped out of it. I think it was a 10-0 lead. We came back. We tied it up. We put 10 on the. We put 7 on the board. It was the 14. Then we put 21. We just kept, we kept rolling. We just kept rolling, and we were playing good defense. We were making big stops in that second quarter on. We were playing really good football, especially on defense and offense, obviously. And then the rest was history, man. It was kind of a little bit back and forth. They came back up on us with a big fumble by Montgomery. That's going to happen. And then Goff came in and just boom, 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 methodically right down the field, got in field goal range. I thought they were going to try to maybe get a little bit closer. I thought they were going to try to get a little bit closer. They kind of did the Goff kneel down, and it made it like a 40, whatever it was. What was it, a 40-yard kick? 44-yard kick, I believe it was. 44-yard field goal, booted it. Could have been from 55 plus. It was a bomb right through the uprights. And defensively, we looked shaky at first. We couldn't really stop their run, per se. Jones was having a pretty good day against us, had that long touchdown run. Other than that, the run defense was okay. Darnold, he sat back there a lot. It looked like he was comfortable most of the game. Glenn was bringing a lot of pressure with his linebackers, doing a lot of blitzing, just trying to get Darnold rattled. We weren't getting home, though. We did get the 4 sacks. I think our linebacker play showed up big. We had a couple late sacks in that game, obviously, to kind of seal it. I think Nowoski had the later one. Jack Campbell had the game clinching. I believe it was Campbell who had the game clinching sack that ended the game. But Rodriguez had one earlier in the game as well, too. But it was like one of those games where you just saw these defensive ends just couldn't get any pressure. Yes, Pascal did have a sack, but we saw nothing from the other defensive ends, nothing from anybody. Don't even remember even Houston even playing. I don't even know if he was. It be completely honest with you. He wasn't on the stat sheet. But I saw none of those guys. We couldn't. The only pressure that I saw sometimes, if it wasn't from a linebacker, it was from the inside, from Lee McNeil, DJ Reader, kind of pressuring, collapsing the pocket a little bit. No real pressure from guys like Pascal and whoever else was like Levi and Ruzurike. I thought Levi and Ruzurike didn't have a very good game. He looked very flustered in that football game. A couple times you've seen him coming off the field just shaking his head. Those are 2 good tackles in Minnesota, and O'Neal and Darisaw. They're really, really good. So it was one of those games where you just couldn't get any pressure. Glenn had to dial it up. I was a little bit worried. We could see how tired we were by the second half in that football game, especially late into the third, into the fourth quarter. You could really see how tired those linebackers were, but they don't have any quit in them. There's no quit. There's no quit in this football team. And they made a couple late plays. Justin Jefferson had a good game, but they kind of locked him down a little bit later on in that football game. They played him really well. They tried a 3-man rotation on him, too, at once. They tried Carlton Davis, Terrion. They tried Amik Robertson. He got the touchdown on Amik, which I thought was a push-off on Justin Jefferson, but he's not going to get that called on him. He's too elite. It was a bit of a push-off. They kind of allow that now. They allow it more than they have, I think, in the past. NFL wants scoring, right? That's what they want. They want the scoring. So that I think it was a good throw by Darnold, and I thought Amik did pretty well. They were jawing at each other that whole game too. Amik and Justin Jefferson, when they were always on top of each other. It was just one of those games they were beaking off at each other. And I thought we played well as a defense eventually in that football game, played much better down the stretch. Gave up 29 points though, a bunch of yards. It's going to happen, man. It's a very good offense. It's a quarterback-friendly offense with a lot of weapons, and a lot of their weapons did a lot of things. Jones, Jefferson, Addison, even Jalen Naylor, and I wasn't too worried about Naylor or Addison, but they had decent games. They really did. And but our offense is just too strong, We came up big defensively in some big moments. 31-29. That's what it was, man. And it was a good football game. Very, very two similar football teams. If I haven't said it once, I'll say it 17 more times. Those two teams are extremely similar. Whether you guys want to believe that or not, you just look at the makeup of the team. There's a lot of similarities on this of the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions. Very similar teams, man. Very similar. Kind of eerie, actually, a little bit. But we won the game, 5-1, sole possession of first place. Up next, we're at home finally, and we're playing the Tennessee Titans, who are 1-5. Don't take these guys lightly. They're on the struggle bus. We get it. Tennessee Titans, they just got their heads kicked in by the Buffalo Bills. It's a pretty team that's kind of in turmoil. They're a little bit in turmoil right now. Go get Harold Landry from the Tennessee Titans, Rod Holmes, because something needs to be done there still. We still don't have a pass rush. Just because we had 4 sacks doesn't mean the pass rush is there. It's not by talent, it's by scheme. That's how we got those four sacks, with good coverage too on the back end. So don't think it was just talent getting to the quarterback. I'm kind of going off now. You know what I mean? I'm kind of going off script, but that's okay. I do that a ton. But by talent, we don't have anybody on this D line or outside linebacker that can get to the quarterback at a consistent level. And I'm not looking for Hutch consistent level, because it's impossible. But we need something. We need something. You can't just keep blitzing linebackers all day. It's going to work sometimes, but you're going to get burned a ton. You're going to get burned a lot. And our secondary is going to get worked. You know what I mean? When you're trying to blitz too much, you're just leaving a lot of things open. It worked yesterday for the most part. We were getting burned a little bit, but at the end it did work. I'm not going to lie. So that's it, guys. 5-1, sole position in first place. Thanks a lot for being in the chat, or being in the video and coming in. Have a response in the chat, man. Come at me. Let's go. But thanks a lot, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button at the bottom right. Don't forget the notification bell up top. Don't forget to like, comment, share this out. What do you guys think about the game? First NFC North Division win. Love it. It was a great football game, guys. It was a really, really fun football game to watch. The ticker was going. And I really appreciate this type of football, man. We are a football team destined for greatness. Don't let it get twisted. I'm telling you right now, we are destined for greatness. This is a really good football team. It really is, guys. So, Detroit versus everybody. Grit. Let's go, baby. Tennessee Titans next. Boom. Let's go. Woo.